The Giro d'Italia 2025, Stage 7, Tagliacozzo delivered. We wanted the battle between Primoz Roglic, Juan Ayuso. We got that. Also add in the names, Egan Bernal and Isaac Del Toro, and several others. Before we dive into that, I want to let you know this Giro d'Italia coverage is brought to you by Bicycle, the best place online to sell pre-owned bikes. And to find your pre-owned bike, head on over to bicycle.com/FloBikes to sell your bike in minutes. List it and show it out there to cyclists worldwide and find that perfect buyer. Also, get your 30% off seller discount code. Stage winner, Juan Ayuso, the Spaniard, also new best young rider. He's going to wear the white jersey tomorrow on Stage 8, but not the pink jersey. That went to Primoz Roglic, the 2023 winner, and the rider, the Slovenian, who held it a few days ago for one stage, while Mads Pedersen didn't have it. Mads Pedersen fought well out there today, setting things up for his team, but there was no chance the sprinter was going to keep that pink jersey on a day like today with this 12-kilometer finishing climb. Before we get to that, well, I want to talk about the escape. We had 7 riders up there, including the British rider Paul Double. Well, he rides for Team Jayco, and he was sitting about 120 or so down. So for a long time during today's stage, he held the virtual pink jersey, the virtual Maglia Rosa. But that wouldn't last, and we knew that would be the case because out there all day long, it was Red Bull, Bora Hansgrohe controlling the pace, even watching some of those moves when UAE was trying to be sneaky and send Jay Vine up the road. Primoz Roglic's team, Red Bull, had things under control over the 3 Cat 2 climbs down in the valley before we saw the town of Tagliacozzo. That's where the climb, 12 kilometers, began to finish up here where I'm standing now. And I spoke with Juan Ayuso, I spoke with Primoz Roglic, I was running around. Derek G was up in the mix, the Canadian. But it was Juan Ayuso and the UAE team Emirates who really took control in the final closing kilometers, the final closing meters. And I think maybe perhaps Red Bull was a bit penalized by the crash of yesterday. Remember, they lost Jai Hindley, former Giro d'Italia winner. Primoz had to do without him. Also, his teammates and key helpers, Danny Martinez and Jan Tratnik, fellow Slovenian, were also in the crash. Earlier in the day, well, he relied on Johnny Moscan, he relied on Nico Dents to do the pacemaking, but when it came to the final bit uphill, well, maybe he lacked that firepower. UAE, well, they had it. Remember Jay Vine, I mentioned earlier yesterday that he abandoned the race. Well, we heard from the race officials wrongly. He, in fact, finished the race, and he was out there today, as I mentioned, doing those early attacks. Now, in the final, Juan Ayuso could rely on a certain Mexican rider, Isaac Del Toro, one of our new rising stars. He also had Adam Yates in there, Brandon McNulty, the American. UAE team is power-packed, but at times we don't see them at the front of the peloton doing the work. They let Red Bull do that, and at times they seem a bit disorganized. But when it came to the pointy end of the race, the pointy end of the stage, when it mattered, they set things up well for Juan Ayuso. Now, in the closing kilometer and a half, that's where Giulio Ciccone repaid the work of Mads Pedersen and Vacek for setting things up. Lido Trek, also Carlos Verona, setting up our guy, the Italian, Giulio Ciccone, and he launched, he delivered. He had delivered one attack, he delivered 2 attacks, and then it kind of eased up for a bit, and we didn't really see Primoz Roglic. I was a little bit concerned about what was happening to the Slovenian superstar, and in fact it was UAE who took things up, and it was Juan Ayuso who got the better of the boys coming into the finish line to deliver the final death blow. And a slight gap on all the others too. Well, Isaac Del Toro, Egan Bernal in there, and when we looked at the finish line results, well, it was Primoz Roglic finishing 4th, so out of the bonus seconds, 10, 6, 4. So Ayuso, in addition to picking up those 4 seconds on the finish line, he got to 10 seconds over Primoz Roglic, so 14 seconds gained today. That's a heck of an advantage to gain over your key rival, and now he sets only 4 seconds back, 2nd overall in the white jersey, and Primoz Roglic with only a 4-second lead heading in to Stage 8. Now we have Stage 8, Stage 9. Everybody's working for the weekend. I think that was a Loverboy song. Tomorrow, a little bit easier of a day, and then Sunday, we go to my home region, Tuscany, and the riders face the gravel roads. It's going to be gnarly, vicious, throw some more adjectives at it. The riders aren't going to like it. And Juan Ayuso, in fact, in the mix zone said it's going to be as hard as any of the mountain days, and he expects big changes out in the day. Primoz Roglic said that, hey, I'm old, maybe I need a little bit more time to come into this race, you know. Always the pink jersey, never the stage winner, popping one-liners here and there. That's why we love Primoz Roglic. In addition to his mean kick that we'd usually expect on a finish like this, maybe he doesn't have it anymore. Maybe his engine is still warming up. Remember, dual objectives this year, Giro d'Italia, and he's going for the long shot, the Tour de France, which he just missed out on in 2020, and he wants to finally get it into his palmars to add to every other stage race victory that he's achieved so far in his career. So big days out for the boys. Derek G, I think he finished 11th on the stage. You can be happy with that ride today. Giulio Ciccone doing a power pack. Plenty of attacks out there, and Primoz Roglic taking over the pink jersey. But on top, at the end of Tagliacozzo, the first true summit finish of the 2025 Giro d'Italia, it's Spaniard from Team UAE Emirates, Juan Ayuso.